What's up? I'm your host, Skeptical Scott.
And I am this week's co-host, Artie Fisher.
Welcome to Funny You Say That. If you've ever rethought what you were taught and said, I think differently now, then this show's for you. Part history, part diary, some music, and certainly a comedy, The Heathen. There and back again. Please join us as we drop the supernatural, embrace the rational, and believe in as many true things as possible.
Hey, Skeptical Scott, what's the title of today's episode?
It's okay. We're celebrating my dad's sudden tragic death. Back in elementary school, I spent a lot of time running around our neighborhood, but sometimes I would ride my bike. Now, this might be a lot to take in, but I didn't wear a bike helmet, all right? I mean, these were not really in vogue in those days, and sometimes I would visit neighboring neighborhoods, and one of the people I met was a kid named Sean. The first thing I noticed about him and his family.
I've got the joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. And if the devil doesn't like it, he can sit on attack. Ouch! Sit on attack. Ouch!
So let me just say, Sean was a very, very nice, welcoming kid. He was friendly, even that young, and would always make me feel welcome. And, you know, it's a cool house to visit because it's a big house. I mean, much bigger and newer than the apartment I lived at. And it was at the end of a court. You know what I mean, right? Like, there are minimal cars passing through. It's easy to run around, play kick and catch, frisbee, whatever. I mean, what does that tell you about my childhood? Kick and catch was a game where all you did was kick a kickball back and forth to each other to see how high you could kick it and see if anyone could catch it. I mean, Nintendo wasn't quite on the scene yet. So yes, we had fun at Sean's place, but there was something about their niceness. I don't know, like a little forced or maybe rehearsed or a little everything is great or everything is awesome. And I guess that's pretty cool to be around as a kid, but it also reminded me of Ned Flanders on The Simpsons.
Idly ho, neighborinos.
So let me talk about October right now because, you know, Halloween. That was kind of a big deal to me and my friends. And we definitely knew which neighborhoods to go to, you know, the ones that give you a handful of candy, not just one or one little piece, or they hand out king size candy bars. I guess I'm starting to realize from the last episode and now this one that I started my sugar addiction very early. Well, my friends and I, we headed straight to Sean's neighborhood. We knew where some dentists and doctors lived and they'd have the good stuff. So when we got to Sean's, we noticed the family was inside. I could see them right through the window, but the lights were off outside. So we knocked. And eventually, I think Sean saw me through the window and he came out and he proceeded to tell us that we should move along. They don't celebrate Halloween. It's the devil's holiday. This was the first time I had ever heard that, and being so young, kids not participating in Halloween, that was a real foreign concept. But hey, to each their own. I won't fault them for that. And you know, it must have been, I think, the following spring. I don't remember where I heard it or the exact details, but Sean's dad experienced a tragic sudden death. I'd guess his dad was maybe close to 30 years old maybe. And after school, I rode my bike over to Sean's house to check on him. Hey, Sean, man, I'm sorry to hear about your dad.
It's okay, Scott. He's lucky because he was the first one of us to go. We are celebrating because he got to go to heaven early. And now I bet he's talking with Jesus.
Now, Sean had a big smile when he said that. And I'll tell you, I really didn't understand. But as an elementary kid, I'm sure I just said something like, all right, want to go play kick and catch? I mean, that memory has always stuck with me. Did Sean really have the Lord's joy in his heart? Was he not sad or angry? Just happy for his dad? And I mean, who knows? We all have our way of dealing with sudden loss. I'm sure being so young, Sean didn't even have the tools to grieve yet. Or maybe he was just repeating something his mom had said to make him feel better. And I don't know what happened to Sean after that. I'm guessing he moved away because I don't remember seeing him after that event. And I think this was the first time I ever really thought about an afterlife. I wonder if Sean later turned into somebody who would just bury his feelings. I mean, even Ned Flanders eventually loses it. And if you've seen the episode, you know what I mean.
Now, calm down, diddly, 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 diddly. They did their best, shoddly, iddly, iddly, diddly. Gotta be nice, hostility, diddly, diddly, diddly. Ah, hell, diddly, ding, dong, crap! Can't you morons do anything right?
That can't be healthy. So fast forward to today, I see versions of that story frequently. And again, I won't fault anyone for how they choose to grieve as long as it doesn't hurt others, but it does make me wonder, do we have a healthy relationship with our own mortality and death? I also wonder why any of us would think that there is an afterlife. Why wouldn't we simply cease to exist at the end, as is the pattern for all organisms in our planet's history? And I think my perception of the world before I was born will be identical to my perception of the world after I die. There won't be one. Sean was perhaps made to feel better in the short term by thinking his dad was still existing somewhere. But in the long term, I don't think it's healthy to bet on an afterlife. It doesn't make logical sense, for one. When people talk about the music they're going to hear in heaven or the people they're going to see, I think, well, how will my brain, which is no longer active, sense the music or process the sights to see in heaven? When I brought that up to believers about the afterlife, I've heard the response, well, we got to go somewhere. And my thought is correct. We go on the ground and return to dust. And I've also been asked, well, what's the point of life if that's all there is? To me, the point of life is to live and fully embrace the limited days we get. In fact, I think it makes our lives more meaningful, not less. So when I hear someone say, well, she's dancing with Jesus now, is it wrong for me to think, what song are they dancing to? I mean, are they doing the Macarena for eternity? And is it or maybe it's a slow dance, or maybe the cha-cha slide, right? Slide to the left, crisscross. Oh, wait. Jesus probably wouldn't appreciate that one. All right, that's it for now. But it's time for today's skeptic.
I think it is important to question what you know before you leave the podcast. It's a skeptic of the show.
Today our quote is from a very famous skeptic, Richard Dawkins, a British evolutionary biologist, zoologist, science communicator and author. He is well known for his criticism of creationism and intelligent design, as well as for being a vocal atheist.
Hey, Artie, hold up for a minute.
Yes, Scott?
You've got the British accent down. I mean, but can you make your voice lower to sound somewhat like Richard Dawkins?
How is this?
Yeah, that's close enough. Okay, on to his quote.
Do dogs go to heaven? Only pets, not wild animals. If only humans go to heaven, how far back? Homo erectus, Australopithecus, only people after Jesus. No Abraham, Moses or Elijah then. Which you will be in heaven. Senile you with dementia. Midlife crisis you. Richard Dawkins.
To me, if there is an afterlife, it's simply how we are remembered in the memories of those still living and the legacy we've left on the world. And our legacy, there's nothing we can do with that after we're gone. So maybe instead of leaving a legacy, let's live one. Thanks for listening to the show. Our intro music was created by an anonymous listener. Thank you for that. And any other music or sound effects were created by this week's guest co-host, Artie Fisher.
Do you have a question, comment, or a request? Send us a text in the show's description. You can also find Skeptical Scott on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Drop the supernatural. Embrace the rational. Believe in as many true things as possible.
Otherwise, you might end up believing in something even more artificial than me.
May skeptical thoughts be with you.
And also with you.
See you next time.